Okay, welcome back. In this video we're going to go over looking at finding different items while out hunting, depending on the location that you're in. So if we go straight to our database, and we'll go to our locations table, and we'll just look at the structure for a second. We're going to edit the structure, and we're going to add two more fields onto the end, and this will handle the item list and the chance of finding an item. So if we add two tables, both of these are going to be text fields. The first one will be item ID. Oh, that's the second one. And the second one will be item chance. So if we make these both texts, come on, and save that, we go and browse it. Currently our item IDs and our item chances are empty. So we'll go into the first one, and we're going to fill the these two boxes with lists. Well, the first one with a list of all the items that can be found within this location, and the second one with a chance modifier. So we'll focus on the item ID to begin with. Okay, so I've filled this up with IDs of each item that I want to appear in the small town when out hunting. And I currently have 6 IDs here: 1, 2, 4, 7, 10 and 11. And these items are, we've got the grape, we've got wood, we've got a dagger, we've got cloth, we've got berries and apple. Now for the item chance. If we go back over to our hunt script, currently when determining whether we find an item, we produce a random number between 1 and 100. And we're going to leave the same concept, but to start with we will be running a query to grab those IDs and the chance. We will then run the random to get our number between 1 and 100, and we're going to make it, instead of if random equals under 91, we're going to make it equal, or if we're going to make it state that if random is greater or equal to the chance of finding that item, then we'll give them the item. Now the chance, the higher the chance value, the less likely it's going to be found. So if we come back over to our database here, for item 1, for the grapes, if we set that to 10, we get the same chance of finding that item as we currently would actually finding an item currently. So we come back over. Now the second one, wood. We'll give that quite a high chance as well, so we'll say if anything over 15, and I'll continue to fill these out. Okay, so I've given them all a chance of, I've given all the items chances. So the first one says that we've got a 90% chance of finding that item, and the second one says we've got 85% chance of finding the item, and the list continues. When it comes to apple, because that restores a larger HP amount than the berry or the grapes do, we're going to give that less chance of being found in such a low leveled location. If we were to go to a higher location, then the chance you could up the chances of that item being found. So we'll save this. As you can see here, the items appear. So I'll fill out the remaining 4, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've filled in the remaining items. So now we need to edit our script. So we come over to our hunt.php page, and the first thing we're going to want to do is run a query. This query will select item ID and item chance from the location table, where location ID equals the user location ID. Limit that to 1. We'll put the results into the SQL variable, and return the objects into the row variable. So we've got our item ID and our item chance. We'll create 2 new variables, one called item IDs and one called item chances. Now the first one we're just going to explode by the comma. There's the delimiter, row item ID. Oop. And then we're going to do this exact same thing for the second one, except with ID we're going to explode chance. Right, so then we run the random, and we'll reduce this down to 0, between 0 and 100. So if random equals greater or equal to no, sorry, right, we need to add another variable in here. We'll just call this one item, between 0, and we're going to do count the item IDs, oops, -1. So that will give us our random index number of these arrays that we're going to be selecting. So back to the if statement. If rand equals is greater or equal to, then item chances of that item number, that index selector, then we're going to find something. Now we need to remove this order by and replace it with a where. It's item ID, I think it is, isn't it? So look, from game items, just the ID, where ID equals item IDs and the item index selector. So we're selecting, we're getting the items here. and then we're giving this item there. So we run a random chance of either finding it or not finding it, depending on the chance that we input on in the database. If we find something, then we select all the information from the game's items table, where ID equals the item's IDs that was selected by the random, finding the index number, and we're limiting it to 1, executing the query, storing the information in row, and just saying you found row type and game item name. So if we come over to our game, we'll travel back to small town and we'll go hunting, and there's something wrong. Line 12. Okay, it's here. That should be query. Query in there, and we'll try again. And right, so we've found nothing this time, and we continue to hunt. And there we go. So we're only these items that we're finding are limited to the items that we store against the locations. So we come to our inventory. As you can see here, it's filling up our inventory with items that we've found. So that's all we need to do for the hunt script to make that successful. Okay, so going on to the next one. Well, in fact, we're not going to move on to the next one because we've only got a couple of minutes left on this, and the next two sections will be quite short because I'm going to remove this price variance between locations part. I've decided not to do that because it's too easy to exploit, and we can find some other way of having price variance between the different locations at a later date when I think of one. The next thing I'm going to discuss quickly is displaying where we are with the rest of our users' stats on the sidebar. We come over to our game, we're going to have it sort of display around here. So if, like me, you've got a separate stats section, what you're going to want to do is just between there, we'll add another paragraph break, and just put location, and leave that for a minute. Okay, then we come over to our functions table where we're loading up all the user information, and I've altered the query being run here. We're selecting all from players table, and we're also selecting the locations and the location name from that table as location. We're then running an inner join with locations on the player's location ID equaling the location's location ID, where the user ID equals ID. They're limiting it to 1. Back over it where we're echoing out the location, we just echo out user location, and that gives us our location here. So that's it for this video. We'll move on to the last two sections of this part in the next video.